Your hosts are here, Sammie and Michelle. By the end of this podcast, you'll know them well. Adulting, navigating the journey of life. Careers to relationships, pain and strife. Put down the rule book, rethink the status quo. If there's another direction you wanna go, find purpose, passion and mastery in all that you do. With Status Post Adulting.
Hey, Status Post Adulting fam! This is Sammie
and Michelle,
and you're listening to the 62nd episode of Status Post Adulting, where we are going to be talking about dreamlining. But first, let me check in with my co-host Michelle. How are you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing good, Sammie. I am just reflecting on how much I love our listeners, our friends, our families, people in our extended network, people that we don't know. Like, genuinely, we love you guys so much. And we thank you so much for being here and supporting us whenever you can. We really want the best for our listeners, and that's always our intention. And I just want you to know that we love you and we are so gracious. Like, honestly, I think I speak for both of us when I say that we love you guys and we appreciate you.
Yes, listeners, we do love you, and we love that you're listening to our podcast, and we love that you're getting value from it. So, thank you for listening to our podcast.
And Sammie, how are you doing?
Oh, me, I'm doing good. As you know, I've been collecting rocks.
Yeah, Sammie, I do.
You could say gems, really. Yeah. I have been collecting them, not from the store, although we do live right near a town, which is one of the largest gem towns ever. I've been finding these gems in nature, and some of them are really nice, and it's pretty impressive how many rocks there are in the desert.
I have to agree, Sammie. After seeing how many you've brought home, your little pet rocks, Alma would not be happy about all of your pet rocks, but I love it. I'm glad you found this new geological passion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being outside, it's one of those things that I was not really getting to do as much before. Well, I mean, I guess I was running outside regularly, but being in the earth, that was not so much something I was getting to do regularly. And now that we have to water this desert grass, I am in the dirt a lot more. Last week, I was looking at the grass and I'm like, why isn't it growing? I don't want it to be too green, but I do not want it to die and then not get my security deposit back. So I was like, you know what the problem is it's all this dead grass sitting on top of the grass.
Sammie, I don't want to interrupt you, but it sounds like you're avoiding the other story that we were going to talk about.
Which is?
Your incident?
What incident?
With the Girl Scouts?
Oh my God. Okay, as you know, Michelle and I don't eat sugar. We eat carbs, but we don't eat desserts. And it's great because we don't crave desserts. We don't eat desserts and our life is simpler.
For 2 months. We're doing pretty well, but we are very susceptible to falling off the wagon.
Yes.
So we try to avoid it as much as possible, especially since we live by ourselves now.
Yeah. Last year, I gave up sugar. I was doing great. For some reason, I decided that I should eat some sugar. Terrible idea.
Let's get to the point of the story, which is...
Oh, God. So I was coming out of work. And then I saw this girl. I didn't know she was a girl. To me, it looked like a lady. I couldn't see that far, to be honest. And she was like, do you want some Girl Scout cookies? And I didn't mean to be rude, but my brain heard cookies. And I was like, no, thank you.
Oh, God.
I kind of realized it was a bit aggressive. Then I realized that it was just a child selling Girl Scouts and her mom. So then I felt super bad. And also, the town is super small, so it's kind of rude for me just to not buy Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah, people are going to think we're Satan. Okay, who doesn't buy Girl Scout cookies? You don't have to eat them.
I guess I should have bought a box for the clinic or just donate the money, but didn't do that. And then my coworkers were buying all the cookies and I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God.
They're going to talk about how you were so rude and how you just... Boo! You were like, Girl Scouts, you know what?
Some people practice what they preach, okay? And I'm not going to be eating those cookies.
Y'all are in the wrong business. You are in the sugar business. I, on the other hand, Sammie, always liked to buy Girl Scout cookies. I was a Girl Scout. I worked for the Girl Scouts. I have a lot of respect for the organization, okay? Until one day, guess what happened? I got yelled at by my sister because she was eating all the Girl Scout cookies. And she said, stop bringing Girl Scout cookies home.
Honestly, advice to Girl Scouts, maybe like sell a healthy option.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure they'll kill it with broccoli and celery. You think they want to be peddling that smut, okay?
Like Girl Scout nuts or something.
They would definitely be chocolate covered.
With dark chocolate powder, but that has 0 sugar.
They know what the people want, okay? They're in the right business. That being said, I understand that they're saving money for their dreams. They're learning to be entrepreneurial. And today's topic is dreamlining.
Very true, Michelle. Today's topic is dreamlining, which is a concept created by the one and only Tim Ferriss.
Yes, Sammie. And I had read the 4-Hour Workweek we both have, I think, years ago. So I'm not going to lie, I didn't remember until I was listening to an episode of Go Bucket Yourself, and they were talking about dreamlining. And I realized that this would be such a great topic for me to revisit. Chapter 4 of Tim Ferriss's book, 4-Hour Workweek, or he has information on his website as well. But I thought this would be the perfect time to talk about it because the concept in general is really about thinking big about your dreams and not limiting yourselves to small thinking because you're like, oh, I only have this much money or this much time or all of those type of things.
It's very true, Michelle. And for those of you who have not read 4-Hour Workweek, I will say it is a game changer of a book. It was one of the first books I started reading on my little commute in 2016 and completely reframed how I thought about things. So highly recommend Tim Ferriss's book, The 4-Hour Workweek, if you haven't read it. It's a bestseller. You probably read it, but if you haven't, read it.
If last week you heard Kim Kardashian say, people are not working hard enough, you need to get up your and work harder. And you thought to yourself, I don't want to work harder, Kim Kardashian. Okay, I want to make money and work 4 hours a week. Then the 4-Hour Workweek is a great book for you.
Whether you want to go Kim or you want to go Tim, there's a route.
Wow, Sam, love it. That being said, what is dreamlining? Dreamlining is combining dream and timeline, it turns out.
Oh.
Because it's taking your dreams and plotting them along a timeline. And what the goal is to take a minute, think about, once again, your dreams uninhibited. If you could have anything and start actually thinking, okay, what if I wanted to accomplish these dreams? What would that actually cost me?
And today, Michelle and I are going to go through our dreamlining exercises so that we can see what an example of dreamlining is and also maybe some insights that come from dreamlining as well.
Exactly, Sammie. One thing when you start to look at your dreamlining, Tim Ferriss recommends breaking down having, being, and doing. So make a list of everything that you'd want to have, like material goods. For example, a mattress, a nice bed frame. I'm clearly in my bedroom right now. Being, so I want to be a good cook. I want to be proficient in Spanish. And doing, I want to go ATVing. I want to go swamp touring. Whatever that is for you. And under those 3 categories, put everything.
I'm laughing because you can see how 2 different people interpreted the dreamlining when we get to it. Because yes, there is a having, being, and doing. And I was thinking, think about the most big things that you want to have or the most big things that you want to be or the most big things that you want to do. Not necessarily like everything, just like the most big things, like the most extreme things. And one thing that Tim really emphasizes is don't try to dream up things that are within your current constraints. Don't be like, what's the biggest thing I can be given that I work a 40-hour work week and make $80,000 a year? No. Imagine you have infinite time and infinite money. Like, just go dream huge.
And this, Sammie, is harder than expected.
Very true.
Even when we were talking about it, I would challenge Sammie and I would challenge myself. Like, no, like you can't stop and think, oh no, I can't do that. I don't have enough money or I don't have connections or I don't have XYZ. It's literally like, okay, let's say tomorrow you woke up, you had $100 million in the bank. What would you buy? What would you want to be? What would you want to do? Those are the things that you focus on. And maybe being on a swamp tour would be part of people's doing list, Sammie. I do not know.
I'm not anti the swamp tour. And if you have $1 billion, you don't have to decrease it to 100 million. That's not what we're trying to say.
Talking to you, Kim.
It's a joke. It's an unfunny joke for a niche few who are not listening to our podcast.
Elon Musk got a laugh out of that.
Anyway, Michelle, would you like to start by sharing your having category?
Well, okay, so once you do that, then he says, like, write everything down and then narrow it down to what I interpret is 4 per a category. So 4 things that you would have, which some things that actually made it on my list were LASIK eye surgery. That's one thing I was like, it'd be nice if I could see. That would be great. Skincare products. Skincare is something, if I'm being 100% honest, like right now, I don't have a lot of income coming in. I'm doing the bargain stuff. I'm getting good stuff off Amazon and from drugstores, and I love it. It's $10 per an item. Excellent. I miss the good stuff, okay? I miss spending $40 on lotion. It's the dumbest thing in the world. I thought it was dumb when I was doing it, and I thought for sure something I could cut out. But if I had $100 million, I would buy every single skincare product that I could possibly want, because that's what matters to me now as a 30-year-old woman, okay? I'm happy, but it's my dreams. It's my big dreams.
Michelle and I also had a different interpretation of how many dreams we're supposed to focus on after writing down all the dreams. I thought it was 4 total of the having, being, and doing categories, not 4 in each category, which, let's move on to my having category. It actually only has one thing. I actually didn't have anything for a long time. And then, as I was writing, I was like, oh, you know what? I would want a Theragun. Truth be told, right now, if there's something I want to have, I could buy it. I like being frugal, so I probably don't want to buy it. And yeah, I'm not really having for anything.
Well, Sammie, I think this is a good exercise for that reason. Because actually, I think when you're like, okay, if I could buy anything, what would I want? A lot of people, they might have like huge dreams, but I don't know who the Lambo crew is out there. Tim Ferriss, looking at you. But a lot of times it's just like things that I'd want to buy for myself without having to think twice about it. And so I agree. I think sometimes you're like, okay, what are all these things I want to have? I want to have so many material goods. And when I was doing my having list, I was like, I'm pretty happy with the things that I have. Though I will say one thing on my having list is a house. And that cost is very variable, which we talk about later on. But a house is probably the biggest having. That was my biggest expense.
That makes sense, Michelle. I didn't have a house on mine, which is interesting for someone who doesn't have a house. But to me, a house is more like income. Yes, a house would be nice because, I can rent it out and it's a domicile, but like, it's not my dream to have a house. It's like functional to have a house.
But if you had $100 million and you didn't have to invest money, would you rather rent or buy?
No, I would buy houses, but that's not my dream. It's just like practical to do.
That makes sense.
Like my dream is not to buy VTSAS index funds, but I do it because it's practical.
I think you make a really good clarification there, because that was something that I was thinking about. Because when I thought about a house, I was like, okay, I want a house. And I was like, what would my like most ambitious house be? And I was like, well, safety is a really important thing for me. Like I'd want to be in a safe area.
Like a house with security. Guards.
I want to be in a safe area. I also would like to be close to things. I appreciate now that it's nice to be able to go and walk places and things like that. And I'd want a place with a view. Like I'd love to be able to like look out my window and see something beautiful. Like if I had infinite amount of money, like I would definitely want that. But something I was thinking when I was crunching the numbers is, would I need to buy this place? Or could I just rotate and do Airbnbs or rent places? Because it's a lot cheaper to rent.
Yeah, for sure. Like, especially those super nice places, it's like, just rent it because it ain't worth it to buy it. And the next category is being. Michelle, for being, I did have quite a few things. I had being someone who doesn't harbor negative or judgmental thoughts. Number 2, being extremely focused and not easily distracted. Number 3, being resilient to negative opinions or others' thoughts about me. Number 4, being super good at random things like rocks and gem collecting or playing the piano. Number 5, being beautiful and pretty. Not that I'm not, it's just that something I probably would want to put some money in and go glam.
Now, skincare makes it on your list, doesn't it?
It's more about making the time to be pretty regularly. My second to last one was being fit enough to run 10 miles without walking. Tim Ferriss was emphasizing that you need to be specific. So with that one, I was trying to do that. And my last one on this list was being an excellent dancer.
Wow. I love it. Some of those are a little esoteric. It sounds like what you need to do is hire someone to read 4 agreements for you every week.
Well, we'll get to that when we get to how I accomplish those.
Mine were being a good cook, being fluent in German, being a top podcaster. And so, no. I think you're focusing on things is good too. And you're right. I try to frame them in like more specific ways. So for me, being a good cook doesn't really mean being a Michelin star chef. It means being able to make meals for my friends or make meals for people that I know. Being fluent in German would mean being able to go to Germany or speak to someone who speaks German fluently and be able to hold a conversation. Those type of things.
I like that. And I think I probably should add the languages to my list too, because I also do want to learn a lot of languages and make my German fluent as well.
Did you have being a good dancer?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was one of mine too.
I'm glad it's on yours, as you'll see later.
Okay, and so the next one, Sammie, is doing. And doing basically is like things that you want to do. Basically, you do end up turning your beings into doings, but we'll circle back to that. So for me, my top doing ones were traveling. I did realize that if I had like an infinite amount of money and an infinite amount of time, it was interesting. I realized I want to travel to a lot of places that I've already been. Like Tim does have some good additional questions. Like what are some like once in a lifetime opportunities that you want to do? And I do think that I'm very blessed that I did a lot of things and traveled to a lot of places that I wanted to travel. And so for me, while I want to travel, I don't think it's the craziest thing on my list. But I did have it there because I do think I like to go to other places. I would love to do yoga daily, take like salsa or dance lessons, and just be knowledgeable in a couple of things that I've been interested in. What about you?
Love it, Michelle. And I should preface my doing with Tim Ferriss. Some of his prompts for planning out your being doing is what would you do if you had $100 million? And another one was what would make you excited to wake up day to day? So that one I was really using when I was writing some of these down. And so my first one under doing is getting up and meeting with positive people who energize me. Number 2, creating a type of business or nonprofit which directly helps individuals but does not require too much work or emotional drainage from me or my time. Deep working on things that interest me for hours at a time. My second to last one is eating exceptionally healthy and nutritious meals. And my last one is hiking in beautiful and peaceful places.
I love it, Sammie. Hiking was on my list too somewhere.
So the next part of the exercise is picking out the dreams. If you do it like Michelle, you pick 4 from each of the categories. If you do it like me, you just picked 4 total. It's fine. No dream is incorrect. And you go through it and you really go through what are the steps that you actually need to make this dream possible and what are the individual aspects of these dreams. So you're really trying to get a big gauge on what exactly makes up these dreams.
Yeah, and I will say, Sammie, Tim Ferriss specifically looks at like a 6-month timeline or a 12-month timeline. I think you can do that if you want to. I think sometimes it's also helpful to like pick and choose the ones that can fit within a certain timeline. Like for me, if I don't buy my absolute dream home in the next 6 months, that's okay. But there are things like improving my language skills that are things that I can focus on.
Yeah, Michelle. And another thing Tim mentioned is when it came to actually doing the steps, it was like steps that you would do now in your real life. And for me, that part was like, well, in my real life, I'm still going to work. In my real life, I don't have enough income yet to like completely just retire. So, don't fixate on, oh, like, well, I would do this, but I can't do this because I work or things like that. Focus on what the actual steps are to get to these dreams.
I'm not going to lie, I skipped this. I skipped the steps part.
You skipped the steps? What? So another part of this is the steps and then also calculating about how much these dreams would cost annually. Michelle skipped the steps, so maybe I'll just talk about my steps, which seemed like an important part of this. But, this is why we do this on the podcast, because everybody has a different style. Some styles are lazy.
Rude.
So the 4 dreams that I chose were meeting with positive people who energize me. Because I really thought that would be something, like of the 4 dreams, what would truly change my life is regularly meeting with positive people who energize me. Like, I really find that so life-changing when I'm doing that in my daily life, and I would just want that to happen more. My second dream was actually becoming an excellent dancer. My third dream was becoming someone who doesn't have negative or judgmental thoughts / being resilient to negative opinions or others' thoughts about me. So I kind of combined those 2 into one. And my last dream was hiking in beautiful and peaceful places, locally, weekly, or bi-weekly, traveling every 2 to 3 months to do a beautiful hike.
Those are great ones, Sammie. And I guess I should correct myself. I didn't skip it. I actually did this exercise earlier than Sammie, and then we revisited it today. What I realized when I made my dreamlining thing was it was less about the material goods or the adventures that I wanted to spend time on. A lot of my goals actually focused on ways that I wanted to improve myself. So a lot of the things that I wanted to focus on, like say improve our podcast, those have specific things that I'm working on.
Would you like to share one of these and maybe the cost?
They're all $0, if I'm being honest. Guys, there's so many free resources online. Like, if you want to improve certain things, like a lot of these things I had to like, some things I stretched a little bit for cost. Like, for example, I want to work on my writing. And I was like, well, if I wanted to write better, I could spend $100 on, say, masterclass. And so that would be an annual fee, and that's something that could cost money. But there's also free YouTube videos, free groups. The thing about dreamlining that I really appreciate is how much it puts in perspective, like how realistic your goals actually are.
That's a good example with the writing. And maybe for someone else, that would include like hiring a tutor or hiring someone to read your writing regularly, like an editor, so that your writing can actually grow as well. Maybe it would include buying audiobooks regularly so that you could be listening to books, those kind of things.
That's true, Sammie. And all of these things have like replacements. Like for audiobooks, you can get them from the library. Or maybe you don't have to worry so much about spending $10 on an audiobook if you over the long run, you think about how that cost actually works out. I will also say 2 of my big things were like doing yoga and becoming a better dancer. And those are things that I can also do for free right now because we don't have access to classes. If I could go to a class, I did put in my dreamlining dreams, like $20, $25 for like a yoga class or a dance class and doing that multiple times a week. But today, for me, I'm on the Nike app and I'm doing a yoga video. But I would love to do classes. We just don't have access to that.
I would like to say that, I do see dreamlining as ignoring the fact that you don't have access and maybe saying like, I'm going to rent an Airbnb in New York City for a month and learn classes from, go to a whole bunch of dance classes or something like that.
That's true. I did put like a yoga retreat if I'm thinking big.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a personal dance teacher for like certain types of dancing if I wanted to learn like partner dancing or something.
Yes. I'll share my dancing example. It's funny that we both have dancing. I think me and Michelle love dancing. Like, we are so extra and we just love to let our spirit free. And becoming an excellent dancer was part of mine just because I know that like dancing is something that always makes me happy. some of the dancing dreams that I had were like dancing in videos with my friends, becoming skilled at partner dancing, participating in flash mobs or some sort of performance dancing.
Oh, I did have dancing on stage as one of mine.
I love that we both have this. And some of my steps that I had were regularly watching YouTube videos or YouTube dance workouts. So I think we're both on the same page about that. I did put hiring a tutor or going to live in-place dance classes. And for the tutor, I estimated that they'd be like $200 a week. You know, maybe I'm meeting with them twice or something for 52 weeks. So that would be about $10,000 a year. Or the dance classes, I know with ClassPass, I could do that for like $80 a month. So that would be like maybe $960 a year. I had to get Michelle to do this with me. So thank you. You're here.
Are you paying for me?
I had another step was Michelle and I make videos together. Okay, maybe this is just going to happen. Like maybe we will be bringing out dance videos for you guys because obviously Michelle and I both want to do this.
If the people want to see us dancing on TikTok, savage, let us know.
And I also put we create a team that does regular flash maps together. And I didn't specify who we is, but I'm guessing it's me and you.
And honestly, a lot of people we know love dancing. So
it's so true.
We come from a dancing community.
Yes, we literally do. And then I also put we go to locations where we can salsa regularly and possibly even compete. And I put $2,000 a year for that.
Wow. Okay. I didn't dream big enough, if I'm being honest. Now that I'm listening
that's
to
what
your
I like
stuff.
about this exercise. You know, I realized I didn't have enough dreams, and you realized that your dreams were too small.
So true. I can spend more money on certain dreams and maybe cut out some of the useless stuff.
So my total annual cost of my dancing dream was about $13,000 a year, about $1,100 a month, or $37 a day.
Dang.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, how much was a monthly again?
Monthly was $1,100. It doesn't include like my basic expenses like housing and spending, which because I track all my expenses, I put a little generous amount like $2,000 for housing, $2,000 for spending. I usually spend less than that, but yeah, outside of that, it would be about $13,000 a year.
I love what you're saying, Sammie. So Sammie's on the final part of Dreamlining, which is basically you attach a cost to all the things that you want to do. So that's the reason we're adding a cost. And then you take that cost, let's say it's an annual, like a one-time cost, and you divide it by 12 months. If it's like a home or a big purchase, you might want to spread that over a little bit longer period of time. And what you end up realizing, maybe, is that it actually doesn't cost that much money. For me, Sammie, I mean, I gotta dream a little bigger. I mean, honestly, I will say, like, I didn't feel like I was holding myself back at all. Like, a lot of the things I want to do are self-improvement. And my dreams, minus my house, because I was looking at houses. Okay, y'all on the housing market right now, I feel for you. I was like, my dream house is like maybe $800,000, unless I'm in the middle of nowhere, which I am in the middle of nowhere now, so I gotta see. And then I was like, maybe I could rent instead, whatever. That inflated my cost. But my total monthly cost, if I had a house, would be about $5,000, $6,000. With no house, it was about $1,200. And for the things that I would do now, my monthly cost would be about $270.
That's for all your dreams put together?
That's my 12 dreams.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Your dreams are too cheap, I think. I'm a little concerned that you didn't dream big enough. But yes. No, but I think the good point in all that is that a lot of the things that we want to do are actually free. And I found that a lot to be true with my dreams as well.
You are right. You can definitely hire people to help you out. I think for me, like a lot of the things that I want to improve on, like I want to be a better writer. I want to work on our podcast. Those are the things that I want to learn about different subjects. A lot of those I was like, I mean, I could find a way to pay for this, but there are so many free resources. And a lot of it's just like doing it and wanting to be better at it. And I think this is the thing that I loved so much about Dreamlining, Sammie, is that, I mean, sure, Tim Ferriss wants like a Lambo and a motorcycle and like everybody can like have their own dreams. But it's true. It's like actually when you like distill it down, it's not that expensive. I'm not saying you have the money today, but it is something to be like, okay, now I can actually backtrack and say, if I wanted to do this dream, how do I get there? What do I need to work on? And how much money do I need to bring in every month, which is his overall point, to actually achieve this dream? And my actual dream costs like $80,000 a year or something. Or right now, I guess it costs like $24,000 a year.
You know what, Michelle? That's funny because for me, I had my 4 major dreams that I really wanted to do. And I even included my baseline expenses. So just routine expenses outside of my dreams, like my life expenses. And the annual cost for everything together was $84,000. And I was like, you know what? That's not bad for like the most extra dreams that I could think possible. For example, for my surrounding myself with positive people dream, I included us hosting a monthly retreat. Like we rent out an Airbnb and people can come there for a month and they can come and go if they want, like our friends and these people where we can be surrounded with them. We go on hikes. I included sound bowl meditation. So I actually bought the sound bowls in my dream and it was $550 for like a set of sound bowls. We do meditations and I included 2 times a month, like 2 times that month, we would have a cooking class where we actually have somebody come in and that was actually only $99 for the chef.
Wow.
And then I included like buying $300 worth of food just in case, you know, we have to purchase the food. And to do that twice was like $798. And I was like, I love this month-long retreat where like all our friends can just like come and go. I'm like, I was thinking about it and I'm like, this should be like an actual reality.
Right? Because it's actually not that expensive. Or you think it's going to be like crazy money. I think that's the thing, right? Like, I don't want to say like not that expensive or not that expensive, but like you think it's going to be like crazy money to do these things. And it's like, no, like how much money are you spending on your furniture? How much money are you spending on your clothes? Like how much money are you spending, say, on things that maybe you don't value as much? And then these things where we're like, I can't do that. That's so crazy. It's like, actually, that is kind of doable. And I love it, Sammie. I mean, part of what you're dreaming, my cheap version, was I was like, oh, it'd be so nice to live in a place and be able to invite my friends over for dinner. And I was like, how much would it cost to make dinner for my friends like twice a month? So I guess in my situation.
And in real life, you could ask your friends to Venmo you.
That's true. Or they could pay for
ingredients.
We could all chip in for an Airbnb somewhere.
Exactly. And I wanted to share an interesting one. So for my being someone who doesn't have negative or judgmental thoughts, / being resilient to negative opinions or judgments from others, I was thinking about this and I'm like, what's the most dreamliney way to do this? You know, I included meditating at least an hour a day. I included journaling twice a day so that I can really reflect on what kind of thoughts I'm having. And I actually thought, you know what? It would be really great if I could just hire someone to follow me around. And I thought I'd probably want them like 8 hours a day, Monday through Friday. You know, I need breaks. Like, I don't want them with me all the time. And I probably only need to do that for a month. And I was like seeing how much I should pay them. And I was like, you know, I think like $4,000 is reasonable. And that would be like...
Wait, what would this person do? Like, they would just be like, bung, be present.
They follow me around and like maybe every half an hour they check in and see like, hey, what are you thinking? Like, do you notice that you've had any negative thoughts? They write down their information. And then at the end of the day, we kind of reflect and they be like, okay, you know, these are triggers. These are common thought patterns that you have and like help me kind of undo those.
I feel like I'm doing this for free right now.
Honestly. And I was like $4,000. So that's equivalent to like $48,000 salary a year. But they would only be with me for 1 month. So it was just like total one-time cost of $4,000.
Which divided by 12 is actually a lot less money then.
Craigslist post, you know, does somebody want to follow me around?
Honestly, it'd probably also be a lot cheaper where we are. Like, I'm sure you could find somebody. I'm sure people want to follow us around right now anyway, because they're so curious as to who we are. They'd be like, are you present? Also, one more time, why did you come here? I love it, Sammie. And I would say some of the big takeaways is 1, dream. Take a second and think about what does this actually look like for you. You might find that you can't even be uninhibited enough. I highly recommend reading this chapter in 4-Hour Workweek or reading his webpage about it because he does highlight different ways to think about it and challenge yourself. But clearly, I wasn't thinking enough. Like, I need to hire more people, I think, in my dream. I guess I just really think that I'm so self-disciplined. Which I'm not, so I should probably work that out. I need someone who like specializes in rebel personalities and people who give a lot of pushback, but are very kind about it. And yeah, who knows how much that person cost. But yeah, dream your dream, dream big, dream bigger. Do this with someone else because it does help to have someone challenge you and like think in things in different ways.
Yes. And share with us. You know, when you're dreaming, sometimes it's just funny and like just really out of the box to really think about something that would be your biggest dream, like the biggest dream, or like the biggest step, or like these kind of unusual steps, like hiring someone to follow you around. Some of these things, I love it. Like you never think about it and you're like, wow, it's not that crazy and it's cheaper than you think.
I mean, one of mine was just to get a really nice coffee grinder. That's like $200 total and like $16 a month. And I was like, it would just be...
Is something wrong with our coffee grinder?
First off, okay, it's a grinder. And then I'm not even start with you, okay? I was just like, it'd be nice if
No, like I want to know because like I find that the grinder really can make a super fine powder. So I'm not sure like what you're looking for.
No, the issue is I want to put my beans in the grinder and then the grinder goes into the coffee machine.
Oh, like a coffee machine with a grinder.
Yes, that's all. That's all I want. And let me tell you, I was looking at coffee machines. They can get pretty fancy. I'm not looking for anything too crazy.
I don't want to rain on your parade, but those are actually quite difficult to clean. And sometimes it's actually easier just to have the grinder separate.
Part of my dream is that it cleans itself because that is a major concern for mine. That's the thing I actually hate the most. It's not grinding the coffee beans. It's that I have to constantly clean our spice grinder.
That makes sense.
And the other takeaway, Sammie, is I think that a lot of times we do think that our craziest dreams are really expensive. And once again, I cannot speak to you and your material needs, but I think you will be surprised at actually how much you can accomplish with the money that you're making now, with the money that you have saved. We can live good lives without having to make a ton of money. And the reason I thought that that was something so important to talk about today as well is because we do talk so much about moving towards financial independence and like making sure you get yourself to a good, secure place. And it's so easy after that to just be like, I need more money, I need more money, I need more money. And I think it's good to center yourself and be like, what do I really want to do? I know. I want to trap all my friends in an Airbnb and make them listen to my sound bowls. And for Sammie, there's a price to that.
I wasn't paying my friends. Okay.
You're like, hey, want to come up to my super fun Airbnb in the mountains?
No.
9 a.m.
$1,000.
Here's the itinerary. 9 a.m. morning sound bowls. Bing, bing, bing. Yeah. Is it you playing it, Sammie? Yes.
I guess I didn't have become proficient at sound bowls on my list, but yeah.
I know you. You don't want to hire somebody. You want to sound bowl yourself. You want to be a sound bowler.
I do want to be a sound bowler. And for me, Michelle, you know, outside of the money, I was thinking, oh, well, you know, these are things that I have to think about for when I'm financially independent. But actually doing the dreamlining made me realize, yes, one day I'll be financially independent, but there's tons of things like meditating, like journaling, even, you know, some of the beginning steps to creating the group of positive people, like all of those things I can do today. And it doesn't require 24 hours. It doesn't require me to leave my job. There are little steps I can take today to move closer to my dreams.
That's so true, Sammie. And I also realized that if I wanted to buy $50 face cream, I could do that today.
I was almost going to buy it for you.
Thank you so much.
Dreams come true.
Just tell it to your sister. No, but I mean, like, at the end of the day, it's like, I don't have that many expensive dreams. I still don't think it's worth it in this moment in terms of what I'm budgeting. But I was like, I could do this. It's not like I'm giving up something crazy. It's like, okay, over, say, 12 months, this is how much money I'd have to be bringing in monthly, and I would be fine. So do some dreamlining. Take a look at our show notes. Let us know, what are some of your dreams? Sammie and I think very similarly. So I would love to know what kind of crazy stuff is in your dreamline. Are there major things that we're forgetting? Are you on the Lambo train?
Are you on a train?
Are you on a train? Who knows? People like different things. I saw an Airbnb that was a train the other day. Wouldn't mind staying in it. Would not want to purchase it. Maybe. Who knows? But yeah, let us know. You know how to get a hold of us. Keep sharing our podcast. Thank you so much to everyone who has been sharing. People have been telling us that they've been giving it to their friends, their family, people that they're going on dates with. I literally heard that a couple of times now. So love you all. Thank you so much for sharing. We love you so much.
And most importantly, be sure to join us next time as we put down the rulebook and rethink the status quo.